A lot of the basics here are compounded from last week. Okay, so let's not forget. Again, you guys shouldn't be losing sight of like what your number one goal here is. Like, again, don't start looking to escape. You're not monitoring the hands, and as you're trying to escape, you're getting submitted, right? Okay, so always nice and low on the choking arm here. Okay, he's gonna take me to one side. Okay, and he's gonna lock a body triangle. Okay, let's rewind. If you haven't done body triangles extensively, okay, here's how you're gonna lock it. It's gonna be different for everybody based on your body type, okay? You see he's stepping on my hip. He's gonna use that to drive me down and drive him up so he can get this bottom leg as high as he can, okay? And then he's gonna lock the triangle the best he can, all right? Come on, go back. Not everyone's gonna be able to do that, I'm aware, okay? Whether it's your short legs, their bigger body, or a combination of both, okay, it's not always attainable. So, if Ulysses steps on my hip, okay, just pretend I'm bigger for a second. He brings this leg up and he can't lock it. He can go as loose as stepping on his own foot here. As long as the shin is blocking my hips, this still gives us the basically the same controls as a body triangle. Definitely not as good if the legs are locked, but you know, similar thing. Right? First thing we can try to do here is manipulate the triangle. Guys, things I see sometimes is you guys like try to overhook the leg or even go for like leg locks on this leg. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's probably not gonna happen, all right? The thing I can do here is force him into like, almost like you're sitting crisscross, right? Kind of like Joe's doing right now. Okay, I wanna force him into that type of posture with his legs, all right? Guys, remember from last week, don't do this like this, you're gonna get choked, okay? Low on the wrist, basics class here, okay? All right, here's how we force those positions. I'm gonna take my top leg, straighten, pummel to the outside. Guys, whenever you pummel in, make sure you're bringing your knee to your chest. So we trap his leg here. I'm gonna start pushing this down. As I push this down, I'm gonna straighten my other leg and bring this in. You guys see it? Like it's sitting with cross legs. All right? Now from here, this releases the pressure and the tension of that body triangle. So now I should be able to do what we did last week, where we start to slide our hips perpendicular to him, okay? Remember, this is the spot where it's gonna be a lot harder for him to get a solid choke on you when you're perpendicular like this. So if we can't just start stepping over his leg here, okay? We can use a hand assist right here to start opening the top leg, okay? And now as I escape, the goal's the same as last week. His legs are open. Good chance he's gonna try to take a top position. We slide this elbow in, and we can go to any form of guard, whether we're going to like an X guard or pushing this leg through for some sort of half guard, okay? So first step, don't get submitted, right? It's gonna lock a body triangle. Again, just try to do it the best you can. Bringing my leg around, using my knee to pass his foot, using my other knee to pass his foot, so we have his legs crossed, okay? I bring my head around. Now look, remember one of the specific goals here is to get your shoulders offline of his shoulders. So we're shifting here, okay? As I start to walk around his legs here, I'm always looking to, at the very least, if one hand's more important than the other here, it's this hand, okay? This stops the hips from advancing. This hand's to push the knee through. Or in this case, if we're grabbing the foot, you can also look for single leg kicks. All right, let's look at a different escape here, and let's look at it from a different problem, okay? Sometimes when people score and they want to stall, they're gonna take away the submission of threat to get a better form of like stalling control, which is basically a body lock here. So instead of an over-under, Grant's gonna have two underhooks and he's gonna body lock me, okay? You'll see this a lot in like things like EVI overtimes where people just wanna get ride time, right? So same situation though, he's gonna make a body triangle here. Okay. One of the reasons why this is so effective is because this stops my ability to do what I just did somewhat, to put my shoulders on the ground, okay? Couple that with the body triangle, it's really hard to rotate my body, all right? So this is gonna be one of the first escapes this week where we can't open this. Thus, again, like I said, the formula at the beginning of class, if we can't unlock, we're gonna be looking to go to the top rather than back to guard, okay? All right,
So for this one of the things I can focus on, going back to last week's fundamentals, is my head. Okay, there's not a lot of control over my head right now. It's just my shoulders. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, just like last week, is I'm gonna take my head, I'm gonna bring it around his head, and I also wanna try to make this gap as big as possible here, okay? What we're gonna be looking for here essentially is a big no-no, which is a headlock, right? So in order to do that, once I make the space here, I'm gonna start to straighten my arm, okay? And I'm gonna look for a grip here, all right? Now, if Grant ever buries the back of his head to the mat, we're just gonna look for a straight arm here, okay? Yeah, just like that, okay? Now, you can lift your head up again. I'll show it both ways. Regardless of whether either of those ones you're doing, the main thing we're gonna be using to get on top is that splitting of the legs. If I grip here from this position and I just go to turn in, look, it's really hard. Okay, there's no momentum, and when I just bridge, I'm bridging right into a wall here. Okay, I need the ability to rotate and spin my hips. And again, just like last week, we're gonna do that by splitting our legs, all right? So I'm gonna bring left under right so I can start to turn this way and come up to my knees. You're basically offering a cutting arm bar or a shoulder crunch if you hold on to the head as you come up, all right? So watch, I'll show you guys the difference. So if I'm using the headlock variation and I cut to the top and I stay here, okay, that's the potential he has. All right, not the end of the world, but it's definitely a nuisance at the very least. So watch. We were talking about boundaries, okay, during the first class. Okay. As I cross to the top, if I'm using a lat grip, okay, it's very important as you split your legs here, I let go of the head, because I don't need it anymore. A, I don't need it anymore, and B, I don't want to give them some offensive options. Guys, don't reach right here. It's going to be almost impossible. Make sure you're walking yourself nice and deeper into the lock, okay? Really try to walk your shoulder blades up. Don't keep your head close to his. You won't have any room to get your arm in. Really move your head away as much as you can, and then you can put your head down. This will be easier, and if he lifts his head up, this will be 100 times easier, okay? All right. So building momentum, okay? Why don't we use this to pull ourselves to the top, okay? So as I kick, I split, and as I split, I let go of the head. The two very blueprint escapes we looked at from just traditional hooks and a seatbelt was either putting our back on the floor, which is essentially what we just did in the first technique, or again, bringing our head through the lock, splitting our legs here, and then starting to rotate the face. Okay. Last week, if you guys remember, we looked at another one where we spun belly down. All right. Now, you gotta be careful about how you use that from a body triangle. Okay, the rules aren't the same. I used my lower. Yeah, either way actually. All right, so the rule is as long as Ulysses has both forms of control, lower body and upper body, this one is very unlikely to work. Okay, watch. I'm gonna start spinning just like last week. He's gonna hold on. I'm coming your way. All right. See, nothing happened. So if I was doing the first technique where I pass the legs and get into that cross leg position, it would be more feasible, okay? Let's say I can't do that, all right? So we're typically gonna tend to use this when we can strip the hands open, okay? Or even better, guys, again, unless he's stalling here, he's eventually gonna open his hands to trap your hands or go for a submission, okay? And that's when we can start pummeling to keep this open, okay? Once this is open, look, now I can move my upper body. Does that make sense? Okay, so I got the hands open, all right? Now from here, this is where I'm gonna start to cut. Yeah, please, okay? See, now my upper body can start turning in, facing him, just like last week. You guys see the correlation between this week and last week? Last week I told you guys to do this. You're gonna do the exact same thing right now. Okay, we're here. Okay, I got his hands separated. I'm turning belly down. And then as we start to turn, I don't keep turning this way. Okay? So body triangles here, I got the hands, I turn belly down. Instead, I start to turn back this way. Okay? I can do that just by spinning my hips. We can also do that with things like hip escapes. Guys, it's not impossible here to strip the hands, but if you just focus on trying to muscle the hands down, good possibility he's gonna switch to something, okay? If you get here and you stay here, I'm gonna recommend one of the previous escapes, okay? But again, if he starts to open his hands, that's when you can look to keep this open, and this one's gonna be more reasonable, okay? I split, start to turn. As I turn, and I get to the other side, I wanna start to face my partner. Then we can look for the same escape here, okay? All right, so Ulysses, do your absolute best this time to keep it locked as he spins. All right, go ahead. Good. Good. Split the legs, come up to guard. We can look to employ this strategy where we take the body triangle and we force it to the other side, okay? So, start in the same position here. Typically, let's look at the experienced person first, or like somebody who really plays a lot of body triangles. It's not uncommon that as you go to bring this body triangle to the other side, he's just gonna switch it.
Oh no.
Yes. Now, what we can exploit there is the fact that he has to open it to switch it, okay? However, that's a very small window of opportunity, all right? So we're just gonna look for one grip as we do that, all right? So as I go to take him to the other side and he makes the decision to switch, I'm just gonna post on his top knee, all right? All I'm looking to do with this post is A, free some space with my hips, and B, at the same time, make it harder for him to lock his knee over his ankle. Okay, so when you guys do this, make sure you're above the knee, and you're really trying to lock your elbow out here. Don't go below the knee. He's gonna go right past that. Stay above the knee, okay? Now, we're gonna look at yet another form of escape here, okay? We're gonna look at a sideways bridge. So from here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start to draw my legs in. This is very important. Get your legs as close to you as possible. Okay? I'm going to use that to bring my hip inside of the lock here. Okay? Now as I do this, I'm looking to take my top leg, bring it close to me, and I'm going to make a butterfly hook on his leg. Alright? If I do this correctly and I have a strong post here, if he tries to retract his bottom leg, it's extremely difficult. Alright? Now I'm just going to look to slide my bottom knee through. And again, look to put my back on the mat, look to frame, and from here we can recover a guard as he tries to get on top. Start to walk this over. As he switches, I gotta keep this lock open. I gotta post on this top knee. Okay. I'm gonna start to walk my legs in. Yeah, see, now I'm turning my hip towards the ceiling. All right. From here, I'm gonna look to bring my top leg through, high knee. Shin bone to Achilles, so it's harder for him to bring this leg back in. I'm gonna slide this over, and then as he comes to the top, you can look to recover our guard. Alright, last one. Probably saved the least threatening one for last, but again, if you haven't spent a lot of time here, this can be a head scratcher, okay? So, we're looking at the same scenario, but this time, this is gonna happen a lot. For whatever reason, as you go to the other side, he decides not to switch the body triangle. It could be inexperience, it could be fatigue, whatever the case is. Okay? It's gonna happen a lot. So you bridge this over. Okay, and now the lock's on this side. All right, let's look at two reasons right away why this is weaker for him. A, I'm laying on his leg now. So even if he like wanted to open the lock here, go ahead. It's kind of like open your legs. Yeah, it's harder for him to switch back to a good position. Second thing, when the lock's on bottom, look at this. There's a lot of space right here now. okay? Versus the other side, this space tends to, that's the thing that makes you tap here sometimes. That's where the pressure comes in, okay? Here, like if he squeezes really hard, it's definitely not comfortable, but it's not as bad as if he was on the strong side, okay? All right, so it's gonna be a lot of the stuff we already did during class, just a little more specific, okay? We are gonna start to rotate inside the lock, get perpendicular. You will find a spot here where you like get stuck, that's fine. That's where you wanna stop doing that motion, okay? That's when you're gonna start to think to, again, get on top of the person. Now, pay attention to this arm. This is the reason why I wanted to add this one this week, okay? This is, again, gonna lead to further back takes if you're not doing the right things. It's gonna be similar to the headlock escape, where we gotta get this arm to a good position as we get up. So watch this. As I get up, and I split the way I go, I need to cut this elbow so I can be fully square with it. So really the big lesson with this one is once you get perpendicular and you get ready to kick up on top, be urgent with this arm, okay? And this is gonna translate to a lot of the other escapes you guys did tonight, okay? So I kick, and as I come from the top, I'm ready to cut that elbow. Make sense? All right, cool.